Hey folks, I thought I'd show you how to set up one of these pneumatic bottlers and get accurate results. So I'm going to be going over the whole machine. I redid this video because a friend of mine suggested that to me, as I did too many close-ups before. So this will give you an understanding of how the machine works, as well as all the adjustments you can make. We'll start with this one's got a power switch over here glowing glowing green, with an automatic and a manual setting. The automatic is just going to continue cycling. I do not recommend using that ever, because it creates too much variables and maybe a racetrack for you. You might wind up doing one of those I Love Lucy shows afterwards. So emergency stop, you will be using this, and I'll explain that later. That's a useful tool. This is the drive unit. This is just a pneumatic cylinder with a sensor unit attached to a screw drive. And basically, this cylinder moves from battery into this forward position, but once it hits this marker, it backs up. So this unit will do this really small amount, like, I don't know, 3 ounces or something, all the way up to a quart. And it's done in like, they've got it, of course, it's Chinese, so it's milliliters. And then over here, you've got your dispensing cylinders. We pan over here a little bit, and then you've got these valve actuators right here. Now, how this works with that cylinder moving forward and back, this thing's going to be full of honey, so it's pushing honey down the line and up and over through this line right here to your valve, and then down into your glass. Now, the important thing to notice on this machine are these little screw guys right here. And they're on your cylinders, both on the front and the back. And what those are pneumatic adjusters. The way most pneumatics work, this thing, I'm pushing 60 pounds, so you can adjust it by the pressure coming into the cylinder, but these are exhaust valves as well. So make sure I'm in frame. As this cylinder is being fed by that blue line, well, there's air on this side, and that's got exhaust. And if you tighten this up, it reduces the amount of exhaust. So basically, tightening these valves slows the action down. And you'll want to do that. You don't want to be trying to pump really fast, because what will happen is that you'll have some kind of air vacuum leak in this cylinder as it's recharging and pulling honey up from your tank. And what will happen is you'll get real inaccurate results if you actuate this too fast. If it's still under vacuum, if it hasn't pulled all the honey it needs to load. So basically with this machine, it's pretty fast, but don't try to run it too fast. If you do, you'll get really inconsistent results. It's very important that you slow down these right here. This valve should rise nice and smooth. It should not pop up. If it does, you'll strip the seal. I speak from experience on that. And I'll tell you what, I'll fill a jar, and you can watch those actuators work, the valve actuators right there. The other part, so manual and automatic. So I like the manual switch, but I got really tired of using it as a foot pedal switch, so I just keep it clean and I keep it up on my table because it's a lot easier for me to actuate that with my hand than it is, and I can put it anywhere convenient, which is kind of nice. Like I said, the foot thing works fine, but eventually you get tired of lifting and setting your foot down. At least I did. So for me, this is easier. So I'm going to scan over here and see those actuators rise up. Now, see those cylinders returning back to battery? It's not important that they go back at the same speed. It really doesn't matter at all. You just want them moving back in a slow, about that speed. It varies with how warm your honey is. The warmer your honey, the faster you can run this machine. So let me scan over here and I'll show a little bit more on what's this side of the machine. So these are your lines coming from my holding tank, and there are one-way valves that allow the honey to go up but not down, and the same thing right here. They allow the honey to go up but not down. So you get this natural flow from there all the way to your lines and eventually down to your jars. All right, so hopefully I've made this a little more understandable. So as long as you keep it slow, and you can feel a lot of honey with this machine. I mean, obviously I'm not cycling this thing. I could have cycled probably 4 units while I was talking, but I'll show you one more time. Pull those over. Make sure I'm underneath. It's kind of hard with the... Now I'm getting nice consistent results, but if I was to get a short jar, I'll tell you what, we'll top this jar off a little bit just so I can demonstrate. So this is where the red button comes in hand. If you want, if you got a jar that comes up a little short and doesn't quite, weigh enough, you don't have to spoon honey into it or anything like that. All you do is be ready for this. You start it, and then you shut it off. And to reset it, you just twist it. And I go ahead and reset it just like that. So that's really useful, especially if you've got really, really small jars. It's really hard to hit those really teeny tiny jars, but just right. Or if you've got the end of a line and you want to put just some honey into a quart jar and you don't want to adjust your setup, you can just let it cycle a couple times. I did that with transitioning from my locust honey to this poplar. I just went ahead and ran the unit 2 cycles. In the 3rd cycle I just shut it off because I was going to be not quite, I was going to be overfilling the jar if I didn't. So, because these are 1 pound jars and that was a quart jar, which is just under 3 pounds. So anyway, I hope this video has been informative. Some other things you might want to do, what I did is I took a label and I kind of made notes of where on this marker, like a 4 ounce is a 5, a pound is marker 11, a half pound is 8, that sort of thing, pint 16, and a quart's 26. Those are just reference points, so I kind of have an idea of where these things need to be adjusted to before I start cycling. And you want to cycle on the low side and then work your way up, as long as you remember to use this little function here with the emergency stop. It's not a big deal to go back and top off jars. Anyway, I hope this video was better than the last one, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. Thanks.